it's the difference between negligence versus intent versus actual intent. It's two things. Number one, why did you not put a statement here regarding your opinion of whether it was a knowing violation or not? And secondly, if it was just an oversight, would you insert that into this?
Well, let's see. I didn't put it in because Mr. Cheek has been a candidate previously. You were a candidate for school board.
I was a school board member
School board.
maybe 8 years ago, and I'm currently a magistrate.
Right. That's why I wouldn't didn't put it in there.
I wish you would have addressed it.
Okay.
And at least give us, because I have a hard time understanding where you're going here, if there's an intent issue here or if there's not an intent. That's good information to know that there was,
Right.
that he was in prior elected office. So there would be an expectation on the part of a board member of a certain degree of knowledge.
Right.
So that would have helped a little bit. And that always is what I look for, is your recommendation on the knowing or unknowing, because that helps me understand intent.
I'm glad that you read it. Seriously.
I look for certain things, so that's very critical to me, because I look for intent on the part of the
Right.
candidate. Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Cheek, we always give the parties the opportunity to address the board if you so choose.
Yes, I made mistakes, and I
Well,
will.
hold on. If you're going to address the board, I'd ask you to come up to the microphone
Okay.
and be sworn. We do have to have the testimony on the record under oath to be part of the proceeding. So the court reporter will administer a quick oath, and then you can.
You swear or affirm the statements you're about to give to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Okay, I know I made mistakes, and I worked hard to correct them, and there will not be any more mistakes, I promise you that. And I think that I did not familiarize myself with the process, and that's, I guess that's negligence or whatever, but there was never any intent to do anything wrong. And through this whole process, and I know you all have the documentation, I self-reported everything I did. And, I know that, I made errors and it was out of stupidity. And that's, but I tried to do everything right. I spent 43 years in education telling children to do what's right, and I tried to do that. And, I'm real ashamed of, basically what I've created for the workload for y'all. And the registry here has been fantastic as far as being cooperative, trying to help me, and Miss Dennis also. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for Mr. Cheek?
And I do apologize for my mistakes.
I do have one question that might help the board to understand your understanding of what's happened and how we got to today. It can help us understand what you've got in play. You're in the general election, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
you are a candidate in the general
Correct.
election.
Yes, sir.
So I think it'd be helpful for us to know what you've done so that these problems don't occur again
Well, I
in the
feel
general
like,
election.
it's not making myself familiar, and I know that, okay, I had, around $3,000 that was donated to myself, and I, had that in my campaign fund, and so after, and I charged everything on the point junkie on American Express and Visa, and so after I spent that $3,000, and I had, I guess, maybe another $12,000, so I didn't know, okay, I'll just pay it on my, and I didn't know you were supposed to transfer it over, but after I had learned that you were supposed to do that, I had followed that process. And I think maybe on the second reporting, I noted that I owed, that I did, I think at that time I collected $1,500 and I paid $1,083 out of my personal checking account. And then the second, maybe 2 reports after that, I noted the same thing. And I don't want, if I had known when I put that I had paid $1,083 and whatever cents out of my personal checking account that first time, I would have naturally done it. And I know that I'm $11,919 and whatever cents, that's not accounted for. And I talked to Greg Cordier or somebody like that here.
Cordier.
Yeah, a really nice person. And I said, well, how do I correct this? I said, do I transfer this 12,000 basically on my personal checking account over to this and do it that way? Or do I go to the bank and borrow $12,000 and do it that way? And he said, with reference to, my case, it was basically on hold. So that's where I'm at. I'm still waiting for an answer on that one. So, but I do apologize for the mistakes I made. They were not intentional because I'm not gaining anything, because I'm spending basically my own money. So I'm not really gaining anything or any leverage or any advantages in this race. So, I just, I blame myself.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you explored the idea of getting a treasurer that's separate from yourself?
Well, when I ran for school board, there was no money spent, and I was elected there. And when I run for magistrate, it's best I can remember, and I'm almost 100% sure that I didn't file a campaign account or anything because, I didn't spend any money there either hardly. And what I did spend, I just went on spending it on my personal account, it was just a few signs, and nobody wants to be a school board member, nobody wants to be a magistrate. I don't know why anybody wants to be a county judge. But I do apologize for what the mistakes, and I cannot tell you how thankful I am for the help that I've received here, and I'll never run for office again.
So you won't need a treasurer?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do apologize. Is there any other questions?
Any other questions, Mr. Chief?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
We have the recommendations of the general counsel are on the table, so we either need a motion to adopt the recommendation of the supplemental staff report and refer the case to conciliation with the executive director and the general counsel, or we need an alternate motion. So assuming there's no alternate motion, I need a motion to adopt the recommendations in the supplemental staff report and refer the case to conciliation. Do I have that motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Mattingly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Stevens. All those in favor of adopting the recommendations in the supplemental staff report in case number 2014-705 and referring that case to conciliation with the general counsel and executive director signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record reflect that motion carries unanimously. Mr. Cheek, your case will be referred to conciliation with the executive director and the general counsel. They will be in contact with you probably in the next couple of weeks. I would tell you, I always try and say this on behalf of the board, to put it bluntly, you have an opportunity to make things right, and so I would strongly encourage you to cooperate with the conciliation process with the executive director and the general counsel. They will do everything they can to help you work through that process and come to a good resolution, but it takes work on your end too. And so I would just ask that you respond quickly. I think you have up to now with these other requests, and do what's asked of you in that process.
I will, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that's the end of, and you're welcome to stay, or you don't have to. You're also welcome to go if you want to. I understand, we have other things going on in our lives. All right, if we turn to tab number 7.